that the Muslims will not be untruthful about the food which is produced. So in the process of attempting to make the village self-sufficient in food production, we'll also build an economic base, agricultural base, which will allow us to have an income from marketing excess production of food. Security in the village is a very important subject. And we are not going to be rich to put up walls and have sentries, and security guards, and dogs, and cell phones, and machine guns. No, villages are not like that. Villages are simple things. So, we have to make sure that we are small, and we have to make sure we don't have any high profile. So I don't think you're going to have BMWs out there in the village. No. You do not want to attract attention. So you have to live low profile. So people would not be attracted and think this is a village with wealth, so we can go and do some armed robbery and so on. But also, there are others who may want to attack us, and they're not just robbers. They're coming for other reasons. So, the method in which we'll ensure security is that no stranger. Stranger means someone who is not resident in the village. No stranger can enter the village unless invited to enter by a resident. In the Islamic law of international relations, this is called an aman. You cannot enter Darul Islam without an aman. Today you use the word visa. So a villager has to invite you to enter the village in order for you to be admitted into the village. So anytime we find someone in the village who is not a resident, we can stop him. And when he is stopped by any villager, we can demand, who invited you here? And if he does not have an invitation, we ship him out. Okay? So you cannot have your village in public property. You'll have to build your village in private property. You can't have public roads, because he has the right to come in on a public road. That's one of the methods of ensuring security. But that's daytime, when you use your eyes and see the people around you. What about the night time? The night time, you're not going to be sleeping on your bed every night. No. Some nights you're going to be out patrolling. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to have to spend some nights patrolling, so that you have nighttime security and you have daytime security. The rest of the subject of security should not be discussed in public. That's a matter for the Amir and for the Shura, for them in private to discuss other matters pertaining to security. Are we ready now for the big one? What do we do with women? Should we allow them in our masjid? Pakistan says no. And Pakistan is, where's Pakistan? Pakistan says no. India says no. Where's India? India says no. What do we do with the women? Should we allow them in the masjid or no? Well, go ahead. If you make mistakes, tomorrow, in fact some may say not tomorrow, maybe by tonight, they're going to build their own masjids. And a woman is going to be the imam. She's going to lead the salah. She's going to give the khutbah. Others will say, Sheikh Imran, not tonight, it's already happening. It's already happening. And when it comes to you, and you're wringing your hands now in dismay, what went wrong at that time? Don't come to me, please. No, because we're telling you now, women have rights that Allah gave to them. And every time you take away one of their rights, there's a fellow named Dajjal who smiles and rubs his hands in glee. Every time you take away a right that Allah and His Messenger gave to a woman. And Allah and His Messenger gave women the right to come to the masjid. Yes. And when they came to the masjid, where did they pray? Was it upstairs in the balcony? Or was it downstairs in the basement? Or was it in the annex? Where did they pray? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, and most women don't know this. And even less men know it. This hadith has been put into something called cold storage. He said, when women perform Hijrah, they must remain in Hijrah longer than the men. Why? Because some of the men may not have enough cloth to cover themselves, that's why. Where in the world today women do that, stay in the Hijrah longer than the men? Have you seen that? Huh? Well, in order for a woman to have to stay in Hijrah longer than the men, she has to be in the masjid, right? Good, so that problem is solved over the village. Number two, she has to be behind the men, isn't it? Because if she's in front of the men, there's no problem. But if they don't have enough cloth, so she has to be behind the men, okay? That's where Allah's Messenger put them. That's where Allah ordered them to be, behind the men. Not because the men are superior than the woman. No! Because if you put the woman in front of the men, no man will be able to concentrate. I have a student in Trinidad. Her name is Farah. I hope she listens when this will be prayed. And she worked very hard in the last retreat. And she said, Allah has created us beautiful. She just got married. May Allah bless Farah and bless her marriage. So Allah very wisely put the woman in the back, so the men could concentrate in their salah. So now we know, we're not going to put our women in the balcony, or in the basement, or in an annex, or behind a barrier. Sometimes the barrier is made of brick, sometimes the barrier is made of wood, sometimes the barrier is made of cloth. And now in Malaysia they have all kind of intricate wooden work, so you can see through the wooden work. In Lahore in Pakistan, I found the ultimate in the technologically advanced city of Lahore. Now you have a glass screen. There's only one way. So they can see and you can't see through the glass. Not in our village. Not in our village. So in the masjid, the women at the back and the men at the front. And so men and women pray in the same space, not in two separate spaces, in the same space, in the village, as in the Sunnah. But he said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, the hadith is in Sahih Muslim, and you must have read my essay, which is on my website, The Woman of Islam in the House of Allah. It's on my website. That the best row for the men is the first, and the worst is the last, and the best row for the woman is the last, and the worst is the first. Meaning, as the women's rows fill, they move advance, and as the rows of the men are filled, they go towards the woman. So eventually they come close to each other. And that physical proximity is when the distractions take place, and sometimes even sparks can fly. So he used the word shar, evil. And so in the village, as in the masjid, our women and men are not going to live in two separate worlds. They didn't do that in Medina. They didn't believe this one when I told them. It's in the hadith. The Nabi Muhammad was returning to Medina with hot sunshine, and he was on his camel. And there was this woman walking on the road. And he stopped for her to give her a ride on his camel. She would have dearly loved to accept the invitation, but she politely declined. She said, because my husband is a jealous man. So she would have been on the camel with him. This is the messenger of Allah. On another occasion, he went to the home of a companion, the Ansar. And while he was there, she put him to sit down, the wife of the companion. And she did it for him. Must have been some lice or something in the hair. This is the way men and women lived in Medina. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ marries, and with the marriage there's a feast, walima. And his wife is serving the guests. Yes, his wife is serving the guests. This is how men and women lived in Medina. And so this is how men and women will live in the village. The men have a duty to protect and guard the women. And I thank Allah that I lived in New York for some time, because I was able to go to Brooklyn and see Brooklyn, and see Harlem. When an American woman is walking on the street, and the fashionable ones are, of course, with the miniskirts and so on, provocatively dressed, men can taunt her, men can speak words to her that are very provocative. They can even manhandle her. Sometimes she's even raped, and people would walk by. They just walk by. But don't you make the mistake of putting your hands on a Muslim woman, not in Brooklyn. They're going to have to look for you in a hospital. They're going to have to look for you all over the hospitals. Which hospital are you in? Because if you put your hand on a Muslim woman in Brooklyn, or in Harlem, or in the Bronx, the men of the community were going to come after you like tigers. Don't believe me? Ask Imam Siraj Wahad, he'll tell you. And so the men of our village have a duty not only to maintain the women and the children, but also to guard and protect our women.